Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. Okay, part 2. Hi. Original link to the video, top of the description below. Right below that, link to the Discord. Would love to have you. My name is Connor. I always forget if I said that before I... Preemptive like. And bell icon. Countries explained. I hope they blow up, because the videos I've watched so far are really good. And fun. And entertaining. Phone's away. I tossed my... I don't know where my phone is. Oh no, I tossed it. Toss it. Even if you're watching on one, throw it in the garbage. I'd recommend watching part 1, either my reaction to it or just straight from Countries Explain, the channel. Let's do it. I love that you guys help me out so much in the comments. I drew through that. Rotterdam. Van Gogh?
With such an amazing response to our video on the Netherlands, we just had to go deeper into the low-lying country. And you know why this is clever if you watched the first video, so go ahead and do that if you haven't watched it yet. But don't forget to come back to this one when you're done, and pay the respect back to these Yankees.
Huh? I'm not a Yankee. I guess I am. There I am. There I am, guys.
Mix up the...
There I am. Right there. Like, literally right where my pointer is. Boom.
United States with its 236 times smaller country, yet the USA was forever marked by the place across the Atlantic, as the origin story of their international nickname Yankees leads back to the Dutch.
Really?
The legends state that as the area around the state of New York was known as New Netherland in the 7th century, the English inhabiting this space started calling the Dutch of New York was known as New Netherland in the 7th century. The English
The 7th century? I think you meant 17th century.
Inhabiting this space started calling the Dutch settlers their Yankees, as a mocking term because so many of them were called Jan or Kies, typical Dutch names, right?
Racist.
There are other Netherlands-related theories to the origin story, all of them arriving that the famed New York Yankees sign, seen by everyone and worn by many New Yorkers, Americans, baseball fans or not, can be squeezed into the list of Dutch symbols. As we keep proving, such a densely populated country is equally compactly filled with interesting facts, people and their achievements, collectively or individual. One of the unified accomplishments is that the Dutch are the most proficient nation when it comes to speaking English as a second language. Probably another great reason why there were so many of you Dutchies on the last video.
I said this in the part 1 that Scandinavians in general are quite good at speaking English. And when I say good at speaking English, I mean their accent is much less strong than, say, a German speaker or a French speaker or an Italian or Spanish. But Dutch English speakers, it almost sounds American until like the last syllable. Like they're really, really super good English speakers.
It's true, the Dutch are leading the pack of the non-native English speakers, even ahead of the Scandinavian countries. And speaking of many people watching our videos, make sure you also subscribe to the channel so you get notified when a new video comes out.
I got you.
Unsurprisingly, like the Northern Europeans, the Dutch have also infiltrated Hollywood, seamlessly, stealthily, with no accents or wooden clogged footsteps tipping them off. Only the names, like the original X-Men star Famke Janssen, known for the role of John Grey, is from Netherlands, as are the Game of Thrones cast members Carice van Houten and Michelle Huisman.
Do you speak their tongue?
I've never watched Game of Thrones seriously, only when I was in college 8 years ago. Jesus Christ. And my friends and roommates were really into it. I just never really got into it, but I told people on the Discord, join the Discord, guys. Did I say original link and all that stuff? That I'd probably give it a shot.
Tell them to lift their swords.
While they were all preceded by the memorable Rutger Hauer of the Blade Runner fame and the director of RoboCop, Starship Troopers and Total Recall, Paul Verhoeven.
Well, there are a lot of assholes, yes.
Say, wait.
The Netherlands.
Did he just say something?
A lot of assholes, yes.
The Netherlands has a history of artistic influence that spans centuries though. Their painters left unmissable marks on the once blank canvases of history.
I went to
There's
the Van
something
Gogh
for
Museum.
everyone in the works of the Dutch artists. Whether it's Van Gogh, who went mad before the world went crazy for him, or the two possible Giesling enjoyers, more on this later, Johannes Vermeer and Rembrandt, who never left their country, or Hieronymus Bosch, who was definitely not a madman. Definitely. Clearly. I am sure of it. He also obviously didn't predict the destiny of Van Gogh nearly 4 centuries prior. Now the Dutch dominates a different field of arts, electronic music, across its subgenres. Just listening to DJs would require a video of its own, but some of the most well-known names include Martin Garrix, Armin van Buuren, Tiesto, Nicky Romero, Afrojack, and Hardwell.
Can I make a confession? I never really loved electronic techno music. I was never really a huge fan.
But the country hasn't just influenced arts, the world's biggest sport has been molded by Dutch minds. Football, or soccer if you're an actual Yankee, has been revolutionized by the Dutch, and the Netherlands is known as the place for producing textbook technical perfect players with an attacking mindset.
I'm pausing so much, but I am so much more impressed, whether it be the Olympic Games and the gold medal, like when China, the US, and Russia win a lot of medals in the Olympics, or even like China, US, it's less impressive to me. Like, I think the most impressive, like, Olympic outcome of medal totals would be the medals per capita statistic, because, like, for instance, like New Zealand and I think like Samoa, maybe Tonga, Fiji, like they have amazing world-class rugby teams, and I think that's so cool that such a small population of people can produce so many great athletes, whereas a place like America that like wins a lot of gold medals or something, it's like you have so much people of a talent pool to take out of. And so when a small, like a country like below 10, like a smaller country is super good at a sport, it's even more impressive to me.
While the country's biggest success remains the 1988 European Championship.
Does Denmark have a good hockey team?
Goed. Oh, de goal! Wat een goal! Wat een schitterend doelpunt is dat, George.
Besides their football impact, which would also require a video of its own, the Dutch can be very proud of their compatriot Max Verstappen, who won the F1 World Championship in 2021.
And it's going Dutch in 2021, Max Verstappen!
With field hockey and korfball, okay, as
Field
other
hockey,
popular sports.
field hockey over here, like there was field hockey, popular sport in high school, but there's no male field hockey team. It's a purely female sport. And I think it's so cool that I'm like, why is that? It looks like such a fun game, and like softball is a purely female sport, but yeah, I don't know why it's that way.
Verstappen!
With field hockey and korfball, okay, as other popular sports alongside ice skating.
Korfball? Oh, you guys are really good cyclists too.
Field hockey and korfball, okay, as other
What's korfball, guys?
popular sports alongside ice skating. The latter makes a lot of sense considering the importance of gliding on frozen water in the history of the country.
You're an extremely flat country with a lot of water around, and that can get pretty cold, so I can see that ice skating be big.
The Years' War, mentioned in the first video, the Dutch faced a
I gotta shut up.
During the 80 Years' War, mentioned in the first video, the Dutch faced a siege of Amsterdam by the Spanish Empire. During the winter, the port of the city was frozen, and the Spaniards started marching clumsily towards the city across the ice. Yet they were faced.
I'm sorry, I got to. Was the 80 Years' War after or before the 30 Years' War? 80. Oh no, what did I do? What happened? Why did it start over? Oh, here it is. I got it though.
Didn't hide his respect after the retreat. It was a
Here it
Years'
was.
War.
80 Years' War, Dutch Revolt. Okay. So it was before the 30 Years' War. Right?
Mentioned in the first video, the Dutch faced a siege of Amsterdam by the Spanish Empire. During the winter, the port of the city was frozen and the Spaniards started marching clumsily towards the city across the ice. Yet they were faced with a remarkable sight. The Dutch soldiers put on their skates and met their charge with maneuverability that was impossible to combat. After firing their weapons,
awesome! That is so freaking cool. Look at this guy. He's like a he's even doing like the Olympic skating form, like the. Oh my God, my shorts are kind of green, so they're picking up the green screen, like that. That is so awesome. That's even cooler than the Finnish skiing soldiers.
the skate shooters returned swiftly to safety to reload. The Spanish commander Duke of Alva didn't hide his respect after the retreat. It was a thing never heard of before today, to see a body of musketeers fighting like that on a frozen sea. Now, in happier times, skating is a part of Dutch culture through Elfstedentocht. That is the 11 cities tour ice skating competition on natural ice in the province of Friesland. Almost 200 kilometers of gliding area to be covered by several hundred competitors in the speed skating competition and over 15,000 leisure participants.
I am not that great at ice skating. Like, I never played hockey, but I love ice skating. I think it's so fun.
A marathon that is finished in 7 hours by the fastest ice sprinters. The only issue is that there have only been 3 tours held in the last 50 years, the last one coming in 1997. Precisely because it is held on natural ice and the load of 15,000 plus people requires a certain thickness, with the last real chance of Elfstedentocht coming in 2012 before it was cancelled for safety reasons when the temperature suddenly rose. So climate change is already affecting the Netherlands. The Netherlands, guys, nothing else. We stated this before. Yet it's still impressive that the competition held, ever at all, like at any time, considering that most of the country should be underwater, if not for the Dutch ingenuity and engineering. None more monumental than the conquering of their newest province, Flevoland, from the hands of, well, the sea. Through a very complex and long process of drainage and building barriers, starting in early 20th century and culminating in 1986 with the founding of the 1,412 kilometers squared province, nearly all consisting of reclaimed land, the majority of the area is used for agriculture, but the total population of the territory is reaching 500,000 already. With one of the 2 parts of Flevoland, Flevopolda, being the largest artificial...
So the salt water doesn't, like, infiltrate the soil? I don't know.
Official island in the world. With such resourcefulness, it's not surprising that the Dutch have been hired by other places like Dubai for their needs regarding man-made islands. These battles with the sea and the fact that the country's canals, lakes and ditches makes it completely logical that submarines and Wi-Fi were invented here. Besides the microscope, telescope and Wi-Fi's younger...
I thought the first submarine was made by America. So many things. I was lied to, I guess, a lot of the time. So many things that I thought America made. Videos like these crush my freaking... I thought the first submarine was used in the Revolutionary War to corkscrew holes into bigger ships.
Stepbrother Bluetooth technology. As much as sea is the enemy of the Dutchies, it's also their biggest ally, as 82.5% of the Netherlands' GDP comes from exports. And the key factor in that is the city of Rotterdam, known as the gateway to Europe. The 10th largest port per volume of cargo that goes through them. So large that it's
Question, how far... What's the farthest into Europe you can get by a boat from here?
1.5 the size of Manhattan. And hence, it's not surprising that the Dutch have some of the biggest companies in the world. Shell, Exor, Airbus, Heineken and of course Philips, with 11 total rankings on the Fortune Global 500 list for the companies with the highest revenue. Significantly impressive considering the government of the country incentivized emigration after World War II because the infrastructure was so wrecked, resulting in 500,000 leaving for the US, Canada and Australia. Saved by businesses savviness that has been made on a long...
I've seen some videos about Turkey. I always thought Turkey was very arid, you know, like kind of like Iraq, Syria, Saudi Arabia. But from videos I've seen, there's quite a bit of greenery in Turkey. And I didn't know that.
US, Canada and Australia. saved by businesses' savviness that has been made on a long tradition dating.
Sorry, what do you say?
Infrastructure was so wrecked. Resulting incentivized emigration after World War II because the infrastructure was so wrecked, resulting in 500,000 leaving for the US, Canada, and Australia. Saved by businesses' savviness that has been made on a long tradition dating even before the Dutch East India Company, which many consider the biggest company ever, like including today. It's believed that the business culture
Bigger than Apple?
was nurtured by the Dutch keeping true to their own way of communicating, strict to the point and honest no matter what.
Nederlanders zelf hanteren dat als een positief zelfbeeld.
The Dutch keeping true to their own way of communicating.
Dat ze graag volgen.
Strict to the point and honest no matter
Omdat ze het verbinden met oprecht. Recht worden rap is in gelefte uitdrukking in Nederland.
Recht voor zijn raap is een geliefde uitdrukking in Nederland. En dat betekent dat je meteen
En dat betekent dat met de hand
van alles en nog wat direct vermeldt.
stemming in
Sorry guys, I didn't even read the English things.
Dutch keeping true to their own way of communicating, strict to the point and honest no matter what.
Recht voor zijn raap is een geliefde uitdrukking in Nederland. En dat betekent dat je meteen van alles en nog wat direct vermeldt.
You know what I wish the US had more, but because of the US being such a melting pot and made up of people who came over centuries to build up the population, that there's a sense of community in a lot of countries that the US does not have. There is some regional community in the US, but it's just too big, and it's full of people of very different ideologies, which is a great asset in many ways, but it also can be a liability in I think a lot of social programs, in that we don't seem as, this is just me, I'm one American, okay, this is just my opinion, that one of America's biggest assets, positives, is also one of its biggest negatives, and that's cultural diversity. And it's a very big positive because of what all the different things can bring, but then it's a negative in that it creates a big rift between different parts of the country, in my opinion. And so I think like a lot of the social programs that are available in the Netherlands and Denmark and Finland and Norway are much easily applied to a more community that feels more more you know what I mean, right?
Stemming in part of the country's significant trading past, when precise and quick exchange of information was of paramount importance. This made the country fertile for companies. And quick exchange of information was of paramount importance. This made the country fertile for companies as much as it is for tulips. And we definitely saw the bluntness in action with every small detail mentioned in the comments of the first video. And why?
Guys, there's no way, tell me if I'm wrong, that I heard a crazy statistic like 80% of exported flowers come from the Netherlands. Do they mean tulips? Because 80% of any market is pretty insane. Do they mean 80% of tulip exportation or 80% of flowers in general?
While possibly others would mind, we embrace it. Yet this bluntness that might be misregarded as coldness by foreigners is contrasted with a tradition of social tolerance.
Looks very similar to, oh my god, Denmark and the Netherlands seem to have very similar city layouts.
It ties in with what unfortunately most solely connect the country with. Soft being decriminalized and being legal, etc. That is most of those who soft being decriminalized
Soft wieners?
and being legal, etc. That is most of those who don't watch our videos. Still, they are a big reason why Dutch tourism had 20 million international arrivals in 2019. That's way more than the country's population. Their neighbors in Belgium had less than half of that number, and all that despite the Netherlands being a very cloudy country.
I gotta say though, Belgium, I think it was Brussels, was one of the most amazing looking cities that I've ever seen. Like, I remember I was in a square, there were like a bunch of squares with these giant medieval looking like castle-looking buildings just everywhere, and it looks so cool.
Belgium had less than half of that number, and all that despite the Netherlands being a very cloudy country. Still, despite all that unpredictable weather, with
You guys have
frequent
castles?
drizzles and complaining about it, the Dutch are the world's most avid bikers, with 32,000 kilometers of bike roads across the
I
country.
told you this guys last time. This isn't Disneyland. I'm such an idiot. If you didn't watch part 1, I was in the Netherlands with my dad and brother. We were driving through Europe from England through the Channel and then up France, Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, Austria, Liechtenstein, Switzerland, back into France. And I was riding bikes, but bike I always see as like a fun recreational activity, but them they have like biking is a way to like get where you're going. And so it's like I'm biking like a tourist, like having fun on a bike path like I'd have here, when like there are people who are like, hey, go back to Disneyland. I'll never forget that. It was a woman and who passed me, and I find it hilarious that she knew like I was an English speaker and knew I was a tourist like right away.
And if that number isn't making you dizzy, the city of Utrecht bicycle parking lot / garage
Or knew I was
absolutely
American.
will. With its capacity of 12,500.
Sorry, yeah, she said go back to Disneyland. There's no Disneyland in the UK, which is surprising. But she knew that was American right away, but which
bikes.
fair.
So many things, so many people, all in a small space. Yet what's possibly the most inspiring thing about the Netherlands is that despite the crowdedness and being on top of each other while the sea wants to devour them, they have an important word in their culture, gezellig or gezellig. That is hard to translate, but it's understandable to everyone. It refers to the feeling of coziness, fun in a social and relaxed setting, and also a sense of belonging, time spent with loved ones and togetherness. Hopefully this video will also lead you to more gezellig in your own lives.
Gezellig. Turkey explained. Not safe for anyone. What? All right, cool video, guys. Great channel. Hope you're all doing well. Love y'all. Chin up if you're not doing well. You'll be good soon. Trust me. Look at me. Trust me. All right. Bye, guys. See you next time.